Does that mean action?
That means action.
All right, here we go. Hello, good evening, Steve. Hi.
Hi.
This is our first little podcast, video cast in 2 years. It's been a while.
We have somehow been attached since 2013 in some form or another, whether it be sports.
Thanks to Peter Ferrari, the wonderful Pete Ferrari.
I think you even pronounced it very good.
Anyways, so we're back. We're doing a show. We're just gonna call it the show.
The show. Welcome to the show. Cool graphics coming soon.
Yeah, I've got a tickle in my throat here.
I know what's tickling your throat.
Oh my gosh. Apple.
Apple is not tickling your throat.
Went down the wrong pipe.
That is.
All right, anyways, so good evening. It is. I'm listening to you. It's Monday. We started this adventure about an hour ago, and we're finally ready to go here. I'm Clinton Cole. That's Steve Ahrendt. We're just having a show. We're gonna have a show, and Steve, I know that put something out on Twitter the other day about people possibly wanting to help with a website we might start, and got a lot of responses, and I thank everyone for that. Still going through the submissions. I got over 113 responses, and got about a third of them responded with oh my gosh, help, with actual writing samples, video samples. And I was like, keep looking at your sunglasses, and it just loses my mind.
You let me know when you're ready.
Don't eat in podcasts, or don't eat apples in podcasts. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I have some Gatorade, and we're gonna keep going.
Just soldier through. Push on through the struggles. That's what we do. That's what
we're good. All right, so anyways, we're calling it the show. I'm on Twitter at CDCole55. He's at Steve Ahrendt, as it's spelled on your Zoom video thing.
We love Zoom. Zoom's great.
Pardon me?
We love Zoom. Zoom's a fine thing.
Yeah, we tried to take a shortcut by using Skype, and that didn't work. So here we are.
No shortcuts tonight. It's all
no shortcuts. Yeah. So, anyways, back to the whole website thing. So, the whole plan is to have a podcast for each Chicago sports team. So, Bulls, Bears, Sox, White Sox. That's the same as the Sox. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs.
Clarification is important.
Yeah. White Sox. A couple people on each, and then we'll have Steve and I'll do like the overall podcast. And we're going to work in some gambling as well. At a banner day yesterday, Steve.
You did. Lots of cash made your way, thanks to a lot of work done by Devontae Adams, because apparently the Bears decided that we're only going to have a few functioning linebackers, and then we're just going to bring in people from Walmart.
So I put so Saturday night in bed, I was like, I was looking through the bets and trying to figure things out. And we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, so we're gonna have a gambling podcast as well. I'm watching the Rockets and the Mavericks over here too. Got a lot going on. So anyways, we're gonna have the podcast.
Watching the Bulls at any time.
Bulls are tomorrow night. And
watching that. Jeff Wright will be watching that for you.
No, thank you.
He wants you to run with him.
I'm not even gonna entertain that topic. So anyways, we're gonna have hopefully add the website to it and have writers for each of the thing as well. We're gonna start out with just the podcast for each team, and then kind of expand from there. So I'll be getting back to everyone tonight, which is Monday night, or in the morning on Tuesday, and kind of let everyone know who's doing what and everything like that. So I do appreciate that from everyone for all the submissions and the time you guys took. So anyway, Steve, this is gonna be fun. We've got a lot of sports to talk about. We're gonna start with the Bears and Packers, Steve. Last night, or yesterday afternoon, I guess you want to call it, the first 48 minutes, they were down 21-16, then Nagy decides to go for it instead of making it 21-19, which whatever, either way. But at that point, up until that point, that was still a ball game. It's the first 47, 48, 50 some minutes. I mean, you get to the fourth quarter and then late touchdowns by the Packers, but I know you hate the Bears, so let's hear.
No, that's not exactly fair. I don't hate the Bears. I'm frustrated by the Bears for many, many years. I have watched the Bears. I've beloved the Bears. I have bought the Kool-Aid, gone to the games, bought the shirts, bought the jerseys, invested my time and energy in a team that clearly has no desire to improve. Now, I say that, and like I said, if anybody of note decides they want to watch this and say, well, what does this guy know? Why does he talk about the Bears?
Stupid sunglasses.
I love these glasses. It's like my Thor's hammer, or it's my, I guess it's my thing. I don't know, because it's easier to notice the gaze, but that's neither here nor
All
there.
right, just go on.
The Bears, it's in spite of themselves. Again, yesterday, everybody has been talking for many weeks about how the Bears need to win with the personnel they have, what they need to do. Roll Mitch out, run with Montgomery, take time off the clock. And yesterday, everything that we have been preaching, everything that has been preached on sports radio, everything that has been preached by the professionals, the people that know everything about this sport, they did in the first 42 minutes of that game, which is why against the best team in the league that is infinitely better than they are, they were in that game 21-16, a 5-point deficit with just over 8 minutes to go, I believe was the time. Now, a couple of things to note in that game that I think are important that caused the train wreck that ensued, after the 4th and 1 botched attempt. You had 3 opportunities at interceptions. 3. If you get Aaron Rodgers in a position where he throws the ball errantly enough to have 3 opportunities to take the ball away and you don't get one, you're not going to win many games against the Green Bay Packers. That is a professional team, coached by professional people, run by professional people. And you can see it, which is why they're good each and every year.
Yeah.
The Bears are not good each and every year. Why? Because I don't know what the hell's going on at Hallis Hall. It's
they're not. No, they're not. And that's something we'll get to next. So next Monday, we're not going to do the show because we've got Ohio State and Alabama, the national title game. So we're going to do it Tuesday night if you can.
We'll do it Wednesday night because I have a wrestling podcast. But that's neither here nor there.
We'll get it. You know my thoughts on wrestling.
We're not going to go there because I don't need every wrestling person that I work with to get at you.
I'm sorry. Wrestling is okay. Everyone enjoys different things, fine, but I hate it. I personally hate it. You guys can enjoy it. Everyone enjoys different things, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what to like because I like things that you probably hate too. So whatever.
Coughing incessantly. I don't enjoy that. You apparently love that.
Okay. I haven't since. So anyways, but so we'll do it Wednesday night instead.
The point is, if you have a chance to take away the ball and you fail to do so, you're not going to win many games. If you've gone for 4th down 5 times and you have successfully navigated 5 times and gotten 5 conversions, and you've been running the ball successfully, and you don't think David Montgomery, even if everybody on the planet knows he's coming and cutting back and he's going in it, you're cowardice or fool. I don't understand why that was even a play. And there's a reason why Allen Robinson wasn't targeted much in that game, because they said, we're going to take him away. We're not going to let Mitch have his favorite guy. And they essentially effectively removed Allen Robinson from the game. What? He had 2 receptions for like 30 yards, if that.
Yeah, he didn't have any until the last quarter or something like that. Yeah.
Think at the key point in the game where everything is riding in the balance, you're going to throw it out to Allen Robinson when the world knows that if you're going out of the pocket, the first person Mitch is going to look for is Allen Robinson, which is why Mooney had an incredible day, because they took Robinson away and they said, you're not going to beat us with him. So Mooney was a hero. He had 10 catches. Why Mooney wasn't involved in that?
I feel like he had more than that. I feel like he had 30.
Was it what?
Yeah, I think he had about 30.
30 catches? Really. That's a lot of catches. Oh. The point of the matter is, you could have done many things on that.
11 for 93, Steve.
Exactly. You could have done many things on that 4th and 1. You could have run to Montgomery, which everybody in the world, Hub Arkish, all he said on Twitter yesterday, run the damn ball. Every time he tweeted, why aren't we running more? Why aren't we running more? Why did you call this play? That's the thing that has been the overwhelming recurring theme of this season. What is going on with the play calling? And that's what I can't handle, because you're taking it out of the player's hands if you don't know what play to call. And if you're running an offense for whatever reason you're running it and it doesn't work, Why do it? It makes zero sense to me. Kick a field goal. If you don't feel like you're going to get that yard, kick a field goal, make it 21-19, and see if you can stop Rodgers one more time. Let's also remember that Rodgers gave you yet another gift when he threw a pass perfectly and Valdez-Scanlon dropped it. That should have been a touchdown right out of the gate in the second half. And we got a gift, and it led to the 3-and-out, which was a big thing coming out of the half. You don't want to give them any more momentum than you have. The Packers gave you opportunities to win a football game, and a good football team would have maximized those opportunities and successfully defended their home field and won. The Bears are not a good football team. Therefore, you had 3 drop picks. You couldn't capitalize on a 3-and-out, and on 4th and 1 with the whole season on the line, not necessarily the whole season, but you're certainly feeling a lot better about the playoffs. If you take number 1 seed away from the Packers, you end 9-7, and you're moving to the playoffs with some momentum. Now you're a joke again because you've backed into the playoffs at 8-8. You're still there, so you can still say it's a win of a season if you need to. But I'm befuddled by that play call. After everything good that happened in that game, that is the one thing I'm going to remember. It's the double doink of 2020.
All right, a couple things real quick. We're going to make this a quicker show than normal, but 2 things. One, 18 catches for 134 yards for Kmet and Mooney. So that's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's 2 rookies that you drafted this year, obviously since they're rookies, but 2 guys on offense that you brought in have made an impact as the season's gone along. So that's a bright spot right there.
No doubt.
And then you look at Allen Robinson, we were talking about that, only 5 targets yesterday, but like you said, great coverage and stuff. But is Mooney going to be able to play against the Saints? We don't know. That's something. I haven't checked the injury stuff today. I don't know. Has there been anything? I haven't really looked. I can look. It doesn't really matter.
If they're both Mooney and Roquan are questionable.
I feel like if something serious would happen, I would have heard about it. So that's good. I will tell you the moment yesterday in the game that I died for a second. It was when David Montgomery got hurt. Because 2 reasons. One, that's the Bears' offense now. I mean, if they don't have Montgomery, then it doesn't matter.
Not at all.
If he's not running the ball, then it doesn't matter. Because you don't have Tom Brady, you don't have Aaron Rodgers, you don't have Drew Brees, you don't have I'm leaving Mahomes and Watson. I'm talking about guys that just throw, from now. They just throw.
Make those plays.
You don't have that. You have Mitch, and you don't want that. So anyways, so when Montgomery got hurt, 2 reasons. 1, the season was over. 2, I had several bets riding on David Montgomery, including his over 25.5 yards passing or receiving, which he had 63. A touchdown, a larger bet on a touchdown, which wouldn't have been good. And then what was the other one? Oh, it was a parlay as well. So anyways, that all hit. But then the next play, you see Artavis Pierce come in and just get destroyed. And then yeah, it doesn't matter. No, if Montgomery's done, they don't have anything else.
You have to question that play call too. In a important situation on a 3rd down and short. And now that might have been a play where you could justify going to Robinson or trying a passing play because you've lost your go-to running back. And I think that's what I'm going to try to take away from 2020. We've known for a few years now that David Montgomery is a superstar in the making. And now that he has a mediocre offensive line to run behind, you can see what makes him great is that he gets yards after contact. Like, you've got some great running backs in this league.
That's one of his best strengths. Yeah.
You got Derek Henry and Dalvin Cook. Both of those guys are exceptional because they can get yards after contact. When they get hit, they move and maneuver and keep going. And that's something that is really fashionable right now with running backs, and you either have it or you don't. And Montgomery has it in spades because 60% of the time he's getting hit at 1 or 2 yards into his run and ends up making it 5 or 6 yards. So he's making that team better. I'm just hoping that they're not lulled into a false sense of security that, well, this offensive line is something to build. It's something to grow. It'll be just fine. No, it won't. It will not. You need to get professional people to put on either side. It doesn't matter if you have hopefuls. Yes, great. You can keep these guys and have them rotate in and be backups when people get hurt. Then you have something to work with. But you need a better line. A offense like Matt Nagy's doesn't work when you can't block. Right?
I mean, you're not wrong, but they've played so much better. I think now that you see what they have, obviously, yes, they need 2 linemen. They need 2 more.
Easily.
Yes.
And
We'll
not
say
just retreads like Ifedi
no,
from
no.
Seattle. You need
I mean, two guys
caliber linemen here.
Right. 2 guys that they can count on. And that's better than it was at the beginning of the season, though. They needed 4.
And
I mean, James Daniels will be back, so that'll be a good thing. But I mean, for now, yeah, if they don't have that, then it doesn't really matter. Let's go real quick to your thoughts on Allen Robinson. You're paying the guy, right? I mean, you're not letting him go.
Well, that's fun. That's a fun thing to discuss.
Sounds like you are.
Well, here's the thing. You got to have somebody out there. And I think it's more, does Allen Robinson want to stay? If Allen Robinson can get past the insult of not being paid, because that messes with a lot of people. When you ask for a contract, when it's time, and your team says, well, let's just pump the brakes and see how the season goes. Allen Robinson is not Michael Thompson. He's not Mike Evans. He's not Hopkins. But he is a quality wide receiver. He's that level under superstar, not quite the superstar that some of the other wide receivers that you've seen all year long. I mean, Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, that guy looks like he's the second coming of Randy Moss in the purple uniform. But
yeah,
what I'm saying is
fun to deal with. Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like Keuchel and Giolito. You've got 2 really great pitchers. Are either of them your ace? Maybe Giolito is your ace. Maybe. Keuchel could have been your ace 4 years ago. Not right now. So my question is, Lance Lynn, nice piece. But to me, you need to go get a guy that when you hand that ball every 5 days, is going to go 6, 7, 8 innings and is going to win a goddamn game. Pardon my French. They could use a playmaking wide receiver to work with Allen Robinson. And then you got Anthony, you got Miller, and Mooney could be something special too. So again, they have good pieces. They need great pieces.
Right. They need more. All right, let's go real quick to next week. I mean, they're playing the Saints at the Saints. Last time they played, overtime loss. But as I mentioned to you, the defense was playing maybe the last game they played well. So it's a different story. Kamara will be back after, I think he has to sit out through Saturday. So obviously the NFL wasn't going to schedule the Saints to play without him on Saturday. I mean, I don't know why people were even making that a thing. Clearly they weren't going to do that, and they were going to play Sunday, right? I mean, I know the matchups are the matchups are the matchups, but imagine if the Bears would have gotten that break. That would have been nice. But they're 10-point underdogs. They're the biggest underdogs of the weekend against or of any of the matchups. I mean, 10 points for a reason.
Here's the thing that's funny. The Saints earlier in the season looked unbeatable, but Drew Brees got hurt. And I'm not sure Drew Brees is 100%. He's looked good, not great. And I think that affects what they try to do. Kamara is Kamara. He could go off for 300 yards and 4 scores at any moment. He's really impressive. What defense of the Bears are you going to get? It's injured. It's not spectacular when it's healthy, but now you're missing huge pieces. And if you got Drew Brees that's working like a surgeon against some of these, first-year practice squad cornerbacks and safeties, Kamara is going to come out of the backfield. I mean, how about those plays where linebackers are covering wide receivers for it was astounding. Danny Trevathan covering Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's you just have to shake your head and go, that somebody thought that would be a thing. It would be good to do that. Let's try it. which makes you question, the who's calling plays and who's coaching this team. I don't think the Bears players are as horrible as this team has looked, are necessarily 100% the problem. The coaching staff has to be held accountable for some of these losses because they have done some absolutely befuddling things the Bears defense looked in no way ready to do anything, which is unfortunate. But then, you had a little bit of help. You had some help in the second half where Rodgers was not 100% on and you couldn't capitalize on him. I mean, isn't the Bears defense historically opportunistic when they're great?
Yes, and they have not been for a little while. Give me a score for Sunday.
Well, it's a game that could go two ways. The Bears have absolutely nothing to lose. They are going in expected to be killed, expected to be destroyed. So if it ends up, 38-3, nobody's going to, it's just, okay, next year, is Nagy going to be back? Is this going to happen? So if it's the more shocking thing if they somehow find a way to pull it out. And it's the playoffs. It's the NFL. And sometimes weird things happen. But this isn't just the NFL at the playoffs. This is pandemic NFL at the playoffs.
Sure.
Could the Bears find a way to do something and walk out of New Orleans victorious? All signs say probably not, but we've seen, remember the Giants, the Super Bowl Giants, Tyree catching the ball on his head, beating an undefeated Patriots team. There is not one human being that thought the Giants would even make the playoffs that year. So, you play the games and you see what happens. The Jets beat two playoff teams as they exited the season. So it's one of those situations where it's the any given Sunday principle. Anything can happen any given Sunday. Drew Brees could get hurt. Drew Brees could not have a good game. Kamara could get injured in the first quarter. There are a lot of things that would have to happen for the Bears to have a chance, and I think it's outside of their own good play. But I'm not ready to say they can't do it. I think it's going to end up being close for a long time, much like this game was, because I think the Packers are a better team than the Saints. I'm looking for 27-10. I think the Bears will keep it close. I don't think they'll score 20 points. I don't think they'll score 14 points. I just don't think that unless Montgomery finds a way to go off, but that's a pretty stout defense in New Orleans. So 7-10, that's my thoughts.
31-21 Saints. Maybe they'll win, but if they win, then they go play the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. So
you know what? You're playing for the third time. See, that's the fun part of the NFL, and that's what I enjoy, and that's why I still watch, even though they're god awful right now at 8-8, backing into the playoffs. What if they are that team? What if the gods of football come down and say, you are the team this year that is going to catch fire and do this run and surprise people?
That'll be tough because there's only one team in the playoffs that they're better than. That's the Redskins or the football team.
I don't think I think that they're worse than everybody. I don't think.
Come on.
I don't think they're necessarily
so dumb. That is so stupid. No way.
Alex Smith, Mitch Trubisky, where are you going? Who's the kid on defense in Washington? That's my question. That guy's a bruiser. Whatever. So I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be great, but like I said, it's going to be fun anyway. Just the fact that they're there. We can take that as a win. They're here. They're going to play one more game. So what does that mean next year? Okay, so let's say they beat the Saints and they go and they get beaten by the Packers for a third time. Hey, Matt Nagy won a playoff game. Isn't that been his criticism? Do you keep him? Is everything going to stay the same? Are they going to pay Mitch? Are they going to keep it the way it is? Pagano stays as D coordinator. It's still the laser show, pew 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 pew, to quote the morning guys.
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. Let's quickly go through this bracket and give me your picks for next week. We're going to do this no talking, just go. Bills or Colts?
Bills, easily.
Okay. Steelers and Browns.
Browns upset the Steelers.
Actually, you know what we're doing? We're doing Bills. Bills. Okay, so you're taking the Bills. Bills are 6.5 point favorites. Do they win by a full touchdown?
Oh, I give the points. Yeah, they'll win by 14. They'll win by 2 touchdowns.
I think you're probably right. I also hate the Colts a lot. So this is good because I like the Bills. This is very good. Or this could be devastating.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to say, yeah, I think the Bills will probably win. You know, I think Colts have a decent defense, but I mean, the Colts or the Bills have a great offense. So 27.
That quarterback.
Huh?
That quarterback, Allen has it. I don't know what it is. We certainly haven't seen it in Chicago ever, but Josh Allen is just an amazing athlete to watch.
27-21, they do not cover is my score. All right, the Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 4.5. We don't know if Goff's going to play, but it doesn't really matter. I think he's an idiot anyways, so I don't really think that makes a difference. I have the Seahawks winning big in this one, 31-20.
I think the Seahawks put up a lot of points against the Rams, and I think Russell Wilson gets into playoff mode, and you know how Russell Wilson can turn it on. Carson's healthy this week for the first time in a few. Their receivers are really good. I think there's more in Seattle for the Rams to be able to stop properly, unless Aaron Donald plays out of his mind and disrupts Russell completely. I say the Saints put up 40 points. I'm going 42-14.
All right, Bucks at Washington. The Bucks an 8-point favorite on the road. So I guess that's the bigger, barely a bigger discrepancy, I guess, than the Bears, even though they're 10 points, but they're not playing at home, so it's a big difference. What do you got there? Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are the only team in the NFC that can beat the Packers.
And it's funny how the Bears beat the Buccaneers. I still look back and wonder how that was.
I mean, Godwin didn't play. They needed the late stuff. I mean, it was just a mess. I don't
know. Certainly Tom Brady looked very Tom Brady-like in that game yesterday, where he was everywhere he needed to be and more. Mike Evans, what's his status for the game? Have we heard? Is he questionable?
Greatest receiver of all time? I don't know. Oh, day to day. I was watching NFL. The hyperextended knee day to day. So they're hoping he can practice Thursday is what I saw.
And that's the thing. If Mike Evans can't go, suddenly Antonio Brown gets more targets, and he's slowly and surely becoming Antonio Brown again. Brady's too good. I don't feel like the Redskins can be Cinderella this year, even though what an amazing job Alex Smith to come back from that injury to actually get into the playoffs, even though the NFC East was just terrible. I'd love to see the Redskins pull off Cinderella and dance Tom terrific right out of the playoffs, but reality dictates the fact that it's probably going to be a big victory for Tampa, even though they don't travel too well, but they're not traveling very far. So, I think Tampa wins. I think it's 38 to, 13 maybe. I don't know how much offense it's take when they have they're going to have to abandon the run very quickly. And Alex Smith is better when he's got the play action available. So that I don't mean to keep you up. I'm sorry I'm keeping you up. I thought we were going to engage in sports talk here.
I'm tired. What can I say? I'm tired.
Move along, Charlie.
It's nothing to do with you. I'm just tired. The Ravens at the Titans. These two teams. We'll get to the AFC. We talked about the Bills and the Colts. The Ravens and the Titans on Sunday at 1:05. What a game. What are we doing there? Ravens are favored on the road by 3.5. I thought the Ravens were dead when Lamar Jackson came back. That first game he came back, I just thought they were dead. And then he came after pooping himself, and then he came back and won that game. Like, that was awesome. They've been like themselves, their old selves, from this point on. At the beginning of the season, I mean, I didn't really think they were going to make the playoffs. But now, and then you see what Derrick Henry's doing and what the Titans did last year in the playoffs. This is going to be a fun one.
It is, and it's going to be dictated by the Ravens defense almost exclusively. We know Tannehill is not a superstar quarterback, but he's really good, and he plays very well in big moments. At least he has thus far. Derrick Henry is virtually unstoppable. Now, if that Ravens defense plays like Ravens defense that we've seen and they can be, and they take Derek, if that's their mission, they take Derrick Henry out of it. When Tannehill loses the play action, when there's no threat of Derrick Henry running the ball, it makes it very one-dimensional and makes that team mediocre at best. But if Henry goes off and puts up 150 yards on the Ravens, Tennessee will probably win that game pretty easily. But if the Ravens play stout defense and keep Derrick Henry under 100 yards and they get a few takeaways here and there, that could be the difference. And I could see them. Go ahead.
3.5. What do you got?
I am going to say that Derrick Henry is not stopped. I'm taking the Titans, and I think it's going to end up being 24-20.
I don't know what to pick on this game, so I'm not going to. No, I'm just kidding. The Titans, they've got so many weapons. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, who's had 1 million touchdowns this season, and they're not even counting Derrick Henry, and Tannehill is perfect for that offense. They're at home, which, it doesn't really matter as much this year. I don't know. I don't think – the thing about the Ravens now, they have J.K. Dobbins, and they didn't have J.K. Dobbins last year. And J.K. Dobbins adds something else to that rushing attack that, Mark Ingram was whatever, but J.K. Dobbins is like that. Mark Ingram now is not Mark Ingram 2 years after winning the Heisman Trophy. That's a different guy. So obviously J.K. Dobbins is a legit running back. Ingram was too. That's not what I'm saying. But a perfect back right now is what I'm getting at for this offense. Scored 2 touchdowns yesterday. He's got the speed. I just don't think he has. I don't know. I'm going to the Titans too.
Lamar Jackson, though, if Lamar Jackson's on his game and he's running for 100 yards.
It's so hard to say, though.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game to call. I like the Titans at home.
I do too. Say 24-17, kind of what I'm going for. It also might be 49-35. Honestly, it should be.
A lot of options.
Then the Bears game we've already talked about, which is on Nickelodeon, which is, people were making jokes about that yesterday. Like,
your SpongeBob SquarePants is the referee for that game, which is exciting.
It's so dumb. Anyways, and then the final game of the first weekend is the Browns at the Steelers. These two teams just played. It doesn't matter. Mason Rudolph played, but these two huge rivals, the Browns in the playoffs the first time. The Steelers were undefeated for 11-0, and then they were just absolute dog trash for a few weeks. And then now they started scoring points again. I think the Steelers are somewhere in the middle of where they were. They're not the best team in the AFC at 11-0, and they're also not one of the worst teams. They're not one of the worst teams, but one of the worst playoff teams in the playoff hunt is what I'm getting at towards the end. So I think they're somewhere in between, but also this is the first time the Baker has been for a playoff game. I don't know. I really have no idea. I guess you go with the Steelers at home because of Big Ben. They're 4.5-point favorites. I say they cover, but then you wonder if Chubb and Hunt can control the game too. So it's a whole thing with this game.
It's game 3 of these two teams that don't like each other very much. Yep. Any other year, any other time, Steelers Browns, it's usually a win for the Steelers. They're probably a better team, better coach team, better prepared team. They've got great weapons. Connor underrated, Juju Smith and Claypool, excellent. Their tight end is good. Big Ben, historic. So it certainly points in the direction of the Steelers, and giving them the 4 seems like the right call. But every year there's a Cinderella. Yeah. Every year there's a team that finds a way to get things done. And there's not a team that has more outside of the city of Cleveland support than the Browns do. A lot of Baker Mayfield fans out there, a lot of, hey, Cleveland's first time in the playoffs, make a run. So a lot of support pouring in from across the nation for the Cleveland Browns. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot, obviously, but every year there's that one team that defies logic, defies gravity, and makes that win. And I don't think the Bears are that team, even though they're in the same kind of category, perhaps. I think the Browns could win. I think the Browns will win. I think it'll be a field goal. I think that the final score is going to be something in the area of 23-20 Browns. I think it happens late. I think it's a mistake that the Steelers make while driving to win the game, that it's an opportunistic play at the end and a field goal that get Cleveland to the next round where they get blown out.
All right. Well, there you go. We're done. We're done. We're the Bulls. We'll talk about the Bulls. They just started. You hate the Bulls. I love the Bulls.
No, see, I don't hate the Bulls. That's a misnomer.
I think you hate all the teams.
If the Bulls could play Washington every week, that's a damn fine team you have there. They're very young. Now, Clinton, I mess with you because I enjoy the reactions you give. I live for those texts where you tell me to screw off, but with much more explicative tones. I enjoy that because I know what a fan you are. And, I'm not blind. Billy Donovan is the biggest upgrade at coach that they could have made. I don't know if he's the Doug Collins or if he's the Phil Jackson that gets them where they need to go, but he's definitely better than Boylan. I don't think they've had a coach as good as Donovan since
well, Tibbs is good.
And Tibbs almost took him to the promised land. One injury kept that team from doing bigger things, but that's neither here nor there. I love some of the young players. They play with a lot of heart, but they just don't have enough people that can close a game.
No.
And in the NBA, if you don't have a closer, it's a tough sledding. They're 3-4. So, when they started off 0-3, I'd thrown them under the bus, like you say. But, that game last night, even though Doncic didn't play, they played well. They played as a team. They played together. You see improvements in their game. You see them playing like a team sometimes. You've got to stop these 30, 20 point, these big losses where they get blown out of the arena. They need to develop some consistency. But, right now they're kind of in the middle of the pack. And, all it takes is a team to buy into somebody's concept and execute an offense of a professional coach like Billy Donovan. Who knows? I mean, what is your favorite part of the Bulls? I think maybe that's where I need to ask you.
The favorite part of them?
What about them do you like? What makes, when I talk crap and I say this team is a circus freak show, what do you disagree with that I don't see? I mean, you're much more astute at basketball than I am. I'm admitting that. It's certainly true. I follow basketball like a fan. I'm not a student of the game. Even at IMS, the Kevin Bradleys and the Ryan Horvats of the world were the basketball scholars. I was merely along for the ride. But I enjoy watching them. Even when they get blown out, I still find things that I like. I still like that rookie, Patrick Williams. I think could be something special. I think Kobe White, I think if they got a point guard and let Kobe be Kobe, I think things could be a lot better, but they're going to make him a point guard. That doesn't make much. That's like making Devin Hester into a slot receiver. It just doesn't make any sense.
They're the choice right now.
Well, I know, but you need to make a better choice. There were opportunities to bring in a point guard, but are we still at that point where nobody really wants to come here?
Right. I mean, right at this point, yes, until these guys prove themselves. But anyways, Patrick Williams is good.
I want to ask you one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would help the Bulls' free agency chances if we put a sign on Felicio's uniform that says yard sale.
He's so bad. There are still half that roster. Like last year, there was a good 6 or 7 people that don't belong in the NBA on the team. So that's bad. This year, not as many. So I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 that still don't belong in the NBA.
We talked about this the last time we did this.
What?
Who is untouchable that you wouldn't move on that team? Who are
Patrick Williams?
Pardon?
Patrick Williams.
That's the only one. You have one guy. You're going to move Kobe. You think Kobe's a building block to get something else?
So I think you definitely need to trade Levine. That's my opinion.
How about Markkanen? You've always been a big Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, so honestly, I would, if I could have the team, it would be you have Kobe, you have Patrick Williams, you have Markkanen, and those 3, and then you go with whatever else you can get from that after that.
So you're done with Wendell Carter and people like that.
He's not a center, and they have too many 4s. Like he's just not a center. Like
yeah,
he's not. I don't know. I think they need I don't think it'll work, is what I guess. Yeah.
Donovan, you kind of poo-pooed me there at the beginning. You're not a scribe of Billy Donovan as the best coach.
No. That's not right at all. This is the greatest hire they've had since I like him better than Tibbs. But it's a funny story. So, this summer when I was in Texas, the last night I was there, I haven't told anyone the story. I've told people the story, but not real, or like not on the record. So anyways, so the last time we were there, so Billy Gillespie was an old coach at Kentucky and then Texas A&M, but he's from Texas and he's got a checkered past. We'll say that.
You have a checkered.
Well, not like Billy or not like Billy Gillespie. Just it doesn't matter what he did, but not a role model, I guess you would say. But anyways, knows his basketball. So last night we were there. We went out to eat with some of the coaches, and he was friends with the baseball coach there at that junior college because whatever, they just knew each other. So anyways, he was telling me some basketball stories, and he was telling me some stuff about Jim Boylan, and just some other bull stuff too. What was he saying? And then someone started talking about Billy Donovan, people to replace Jim Boylan, and he told me I can't really say what he told me, but he told me an interesting story about Billy Donovan. But he just loves Donovan, and that he's one of the best coaches, one of the best X's and O's coaches, and for young players as well. So that really made me excited because that's the Bulls have. They have to see what they have. They have a lot of trash, obviously. Now Donovan's seeing it, AK seeing it. I mean, in the front office is seeing it. So now they know exactly what they need to do, which is fine. I mean, what were they going to do in the offseason anyways this year? Nothing. You still have Otto Porter, who's making
destination spot as is right now. But like I said, a little bit of success and some good coaching, and maybe the season's less of a dumpster fire than it's been lately. So, like I said, I don't hate the Bulls. I don't hate any of these teams. You and I love to mess with you, and I love to give you the business. I mean, the White Sox are my favorite team, and I still trumpet trash talk with you, even though I'm rooting for them 100%.
Awful. The Blackhawks.
The parade.
What?
Keep inviting me to the parade.
Final things on the Bulls, real quick. We'll talk about them more next week, but I don't know. They're better. I mean, they're better. They've got less trash on the team, but they're still. Obviously, you have to have stars. You need 2 stars. They have 3/4 of the star in Levine, so that's not really. It doesn't really matter. So, anyways, we'll talk about them later or next week. The Blackhawks open the season next Wednesday, so we'll talk about them next week a little more. Taves, Seabrook, Soderberg, Doc, and Nylander are all out for now, so that's not going to be too fun, but we'll get more in depth.
Let me ask you this question. What's this? Here's my question. What is worse right now? The opening day roster lineup, the starting lineup for the Blackhawks, or the Bears defense going into the Saints game?
Well, Blackhawks made the playoffs last year, remember, as you recall.
Made the playoffs this year.
Yes. Or, I mean, this year, but last season.
Right.
So we got 2 playoff teams coming. I mean, and then the White Sox made the playoffs. You're too negative for how great our teams are right now.
We were talking before the show, and I said we are at a time of desolation in Chicago sports, and you reminded me that what more do you want? Except for the Bulls, every team made the playoffs.
Yeah.
It is a pandemic, so the rules have stretched somewhat.
We'll do some baseball stuff next week. So obviously the White Sox and Cubs have done some stuff. They hired a new announcer today, all that other good stuff. But I think that's to do it for now. Yeah, it's been fun. I will get to the people and kind of let them know what's next. And we'll do a show. What'd you say, next Wednesday?
We will do one next Wednesday, and it will be glorious. It will be a little more organized because it was the technical side of this that may have gotten it a little wonky to start with, but a good talk. It's always good talking to you, Cole. You have a unique perspective because you've traveled many places and seen many things that I'm not sure that everybody realizes how many miles. I mean, having be the guy that fixes your car, I know how many miles you go. But with all the minor league baseball you did and all the photography you've done, both at Purdue and for the White Sox, you have a much more unique perspective than a lot of people working in sports talk industry right now. And I think that's what's going to make this this little the show thing we got going here very interesting and insightful, because you're going to tell us stories about where you've been and what you see, and I'm just going to yap and yell and make jokes, because that's my shtick. That's my 5 minutes.
It'll be fun, and Car's doing great, so that's good. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm Twitter at CDCope55. Here at Steve Ahrendt. We'll have a full page of a new Twitter page of all that other stuff, and I don't know. Like I said, this was kind of the introduction show, as you said, and this week we're kind of ironing out some details, and the next week we'll be going full bore. But yeah, it was a good little talk, and let's end this right now.
We will see you next week right here on the show. Good night, everybody.